morning. Good morning, EPBOptionMillionaires.com. On this Tuesday, February 12, 2019, I got a chart up of the VIX here, and look, for the first time since the start of October last year, a dip under the 15 level. The VIX has been melting down. Each of the pops, really over the last 9 years, has been reverted down to the teens, the low teens, and I think we're heading back down there to about the 12 level that we saw back at the start of September, just before the fall swoon as the market corrected itself, not finding a bottom until Christmas Eve of last year. And the market's been on quite a tear since. If you look, here's a chart for the SP 500 ETF, the spiders. We had a buy signal, momentum buy signal, just after that Christmas Eve low, much the same that we saw at the lows back in 2016 in February. Remember, at that time I talked about a lot. StockTwits had 24% bull, 76% bear, so it's a very bearish sentiment for the market. It actually marked the bottom, and then heading into the Christmas Eve lows, very similar kind of sentiment that this market now we're in a recession, and that we're heading towards significant downside. Lots of red arrows from all of those uber bears. The same arrows that you're even seeing now. I mean, talk about this market being some sort of a fake rally built on hot air. Same things we're hearing even before the election in November 2016, that Trump is going to kill the market. And actually, when Trump got elected overnight, futures were limit down before rallying. A rally that did not stop until we hit new all-time record highs. Is that what we're going to see this time around? And if you look at the market, the pullback from the highs that we saw in September actually got the Federal Reserve to take its foot off the brake pedal. Janet Yellen came on just last week, I believe, talking about the odds are we might see a rate cut before we see another rate hike here for the market. And I think that's bullish for risk assets, and we'll see if the SP 500, not widely expected, hit new all-time record highs this year. Not a lot of people talking about that, but I think more importantly here, the short term, this 280 level for the SPY has been a tough nut to crack. And actually, December, that red little arrow there was actually when the trade agreement supposedly was coming to fruition back at the end of November, start of December. This was actually the first trading day in December. We got that move to the downside. We got up to that 280 level. We pulled back, and we did not find a bottom until Christmas Eve. So here we are again. Those trade rumors with China still going around. So let's look at some charts here real quick. I'll pull up this one from a momentum perspective here. LGND is the ticker, and you can see it's kind of finding a bottom here. Great earnings report last week, and you see momentum's just about to trigger. We're going to get a momentum buy signal, and I think we're going to head back up to some of these moving averages here, 160, and then the 180 level. The options after the earnings report came out kind of got smacked down, so a pretty inexpensive risk reward here for a trade on some upside. Dropbox talked about this. It's got earnings coming up in a week and a half. I think it's going to bolt over that 30 level, possibly back up to the 40s that we saw last summer. This is a pretty heavily shorted name. Some very unusual option action with the $60 January 2020 calls. Also seeing some April 35s and 30s. So again, looking for a move back over 30. Got the March 25s and may add along the way. IBM. This is after its earnings report. Really liked the action. After its earnings report, a nice move to the upside was in the calls then, and they got in some more long-term calls. I believe the stock's going to head back over the 147.50 and then up to the 150 level in the short to medium term. You see the price recovery is really coming to fruition. Twitter also, I talked about this weekend, some unusual call action going out to the 70 level, and we saw some similar call action back in 2017 when the stock was in the 15-17 range. At that time, it was not the $70 calls. I believe it was the $37 calls. Way out of the money at the time, over 100% expected move. And guess what happened? Those calls went in the money, and then some, surging over $10 in the money when it hit its highs back this past summer. So we're seeing those 70s again, which is another 100% plus move. Is that a distinct possibility over the next 6 to 9 months for Twitter? It's something possibly I want to look at least for a move back up into the high 40s in the short to medium term for Twitter. Some of the Chinese ADRs like IQ has really been coming off the lows here. I love this chart set up for a move back over 30 for IQ. And if you look at the trade agreement with China, guess what? A lot of these ADRs are already going to be moving to the upside when that comes to fruition. So the market's always looking forward 6 to 12 months. So if you see the stock starting to move before that agreement comes out, the market already knows what's going on with some of these stocks. Small caps leading the way yesterday. It was a consolidation type day for the market. But if you look, the small caps, we're up. We're up almost 1% for IWM. The Russell was up. And you see this move off the lows here. I'm looking for a move up to 155. We're back in this channel. that goes all the way back to the election, move to the upside. And remember, this was the election, the Friday before the election here, the Monday before the election, and then election day for the IWM. Actually, this is from a weekly perspective. I pull up from a daily perspective. It'll be a little more apparent. You see the move to the upside. And after the election in 2016, the market went up something like 13 straight days in a row for the small caps. This was a Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The point being that small caps can really get some momentum behind it. Are we at the point of that? I'm not so sure. But again, I think this move here over the 150 level, yesterday's move, small caps are back to leading the market. We're going to get up to 157.50 for the IWM in a short to medium term. All right, UPB here, optionmillionaires.com. So that's some quick charts to go over some great moves on some of JB's 2019 stocks, namely like a SMAR. Look at that move to the upside, new all-time record highs. Yext really has been on a tear. There's a lot of room to the upside for some of these names. So I'll see you in the chat room at optionmillionaires.com. Futures are up almost 0.85%. And I've got a little stuffy nose here, so I'm going to get off the mic. But everyone have a great trading session. And we'll see. You know, this we've got one behind us now with the government shutdown. Next week, the trade war with China. See if that gets resolved. And the market's setting up for a possible move to record highs this year. Who would have thought it? All right, UPB, I'll see you later.